looking at the bourse at this stage in positive territory, really driven by some of the results we have seen coming through from the banks. What are your thoughts on performance on the bourse?
Yeah, I think the performance is going to continue to be on the upswing side, given the fact that, as you have rightly said, the performance of the banks has been impressive, and I believe that's going to continue into the future. So we believe the market will continue to improve. However, of course, given the fact that the performance is good, there may be the need to take some kind of profit by the operators, so that could depress the market. But then, given what the banking industry has done, I believe, which is going to continue, I believe the market is going to continue to witness an upward swing.
Looking at the oil and gas sector, shifting away from equities, now looking at the 2012 oil box, we know that bids should be coming through at this stage. Now, what are your speculations surrounding the bidding process and what we could perhaps see? But first of all, let's perhaps touch on the previous bids that took place in 2009. What was the performance like on that front?
Okay, the DPR has said there is going to be a bid round this year, really. We are looking forward to that. But the key issue here is that given what happened in 2009, which is the fact that some allocations were tied to infrastructure development, which did not take place, the federal government needs to take this into account while going through the current bid round to ensure that those who are going to be winning the juicy blocks are going to also invest in oil and gas infrastructure. There is also the need to allow indigenous participation in this sector, really, because we have seen them doing good things in recent times. But by and large, the key issue here is that there is the need to develop the infrastructure, oil and gas infrastructure, particularly gas and refining capacity. Now, if that's the case, that bidding round should also take that into account and tie winning the bids to that. Now, the other issue is the fact that the PIB bill is yet to be passed, and given this, I mean, you will see that investors may be hesitant, in this regard, given the fact that without the passage of the PIB, there may be no legal framework, for the bid round.
Now, looking at type of potential that the oil and gas sector has and perhaps giving to economic growth going forward, we know that there has been a bit of a rebasing that will see the Nigerian economy grow by about 40% given that rebasing. What type of contribution do you see the oil and gas sector having on GDP going forward?
Yes, if you look at what has been happening in the past 3 years, starting from the Nigerian Content Bill, the key issue that the government is trying to drive in that sector is more of in-country activities, value chain development, and that is only going to happen if the gas infrastructure, if the oil and gas infrastructure is developed. Now, if that happens, the government has already taken the front drive in this regard, especially in the gas to power project, and we are going to see a significant improvement in that. You will also note that the government is also trying to improve on the refining capacity, in addition to the existing refineries that are being refurbished and being turned around. Their turnaround maintenance is being carried out now. A couple of investors are also looking at building refineries in country, and given that, I believe if all that put together happens, we will begin to see a significant contribution of the oil and gas in the Nigerian GDP.
Looking at some of the Nigerian companies on the stock market, now some sort of providing the long-term capital required by the oil and gas company, especially in light with the recent clamor of authorities in Nigerian investors, really more for the upstream oil and gas companies listed on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. What are your thoughts on that at this stage?
Well, what the regulatory authorities are doing is really encouraging, but then you need to take into account the amount of money, the quantum of money that is required in that industry. for me, given the volume of money that is required in that industry, I don't think, well, the Nigerian Stock Exchange should be encouraged to, should continue to encourage the oil and gas companies, especially the upstream E&P companies, to list. But then, one thing I have seen is that maybe because they don't want us to participate in profit taking or something, because that's a lucrative sector, really, But then, you need to also realize that oil and gas sector, particularly the upstream E&P segment, is capital intensive, and such capital that is required to develop that sector is sourced outside most of the time. But it is heartwarming to note that in the next 12 months, we should be seeing a couple of Nigerian companies in the E&P space who are going to be coming to the stock market to raise funds. We are, as a Diamond Bank, are currently working with a couple of them to see that happen. And I think, again, what I can say with regards to that is what has always happened in the industry. You've always seen the multinational E&P in a way taking the back seat when it comes to certain things. For example, if you look at the inland basin development, the companies that are at the forefront of that are Nigerian companies. Then you've also seen that even the refinery and all that we are talking about, it is mostly Nigerian companies that are driving this project. But by and large, I think the Stock Exchange, the Security and Exchange Commission, and the NSE should continue to encourage not only the multinational E&P companies, but also Nigerian companies that are interested in listing and raising funds